Hey YouTube! Sorry, maybe that. I got a message today. Just guys. Does this doing the Dolamo Fuzz pedal, which I've actually been using in the band in Cranking House. It's not actually been on my pedal board for a while. I think I'll put it back on my pedal board. Doesn't work for bass, and it's like I don't know. Tell you what, I'll do a video. Why don't you subscribe so you don't miss it? I feel really quite guilty about doing that. I don't like pushing the like and subscribe. Please like and subscribe. But yeah, so I'm going to try it. For it, I'm going to use this, one of my favourite basses, actually. It's an Aria 1983, I think, 1982, 83, TSB, Thor sound bass, standard 32-inch scale, one-piece maple neck. I had to make, the scratch plate was broken, so I made this bit out of metal and painted it black, which I think looks quite cool. Been through the Marshall MB150. No tone. So try and do this so you don't see my builder's bum. So what I'm worried about with fuzz pedals in general on the bass is you lose all the bottom end when you plug in a fuzz pedal. I think maybe in this one. Right, that's out, in, and then power. Cable's not quite long. I could have set up a second camera for this, but I couldn't be bothered. So that should be all in. I've got it's got three knobs on it: fuzz, level, and tone. They're all at 12 o'clock. Turn the level down a little bit. So no tone. That sounds pretty good, really, doesn't it? It might lose, again, as I said, it might lose a little bit of the bottom end. Does anyone know how to, see like a balance pot, like a blend pot you would get on a 2-pickup bass, where in the middle both are on full bung, and then if you turn it one way it turns down one, if you turn it the other it turns down the other. Can I do that with the input signal on a fuzz pedal? Like just put another knob in it, just a very simple balance, so in the middle it's fuzz and the dry signal, like a wet dry mix. So if I put it all one way, it's just basically what I've got just now. If I put it all the other way, it's just a complete bypass. It can't be difficult, can it? Because if it's possible, I mean, you do get bass pedals that do it. This one, the one I really like, which I found out is 175 quid, so I'm not buying one. This MXR one has like two knobs, basically a dry and a wet. That worked really well. So maybe, can I do that? Can I like physically fit that? I mean, in my head, I don't really know that much about pedals, but in my head, it can't be that difficult. I mean, all you're doing is just putting a blend between the, straight from the input, and then the output from the fuzz, and then putting them into. If that can be done, I would maybe use this for the bass. I mean, it's quite a fizzy thing anyway. There is a tone. Try to turn the tone down a bit. This is a disadvantage about not having the pedal sitting out there, but I want to try it in the guitar rig. So I've got the bass running through the bass amp, and I've got a splitter pedal wired up anyway, and then try and see what it sounds like that. So I'll turn the tone down a bit. That's the tone fully off. It doesn't really seem to be losing much bass, does it? I'm getting a feeling you would kind of get away with that. Actually, it doesn't seem to be sucking. I don't know which pedal it was I was using. Maybe the Rat pedal, where I really thought, oh my god, you just lose all the low end. It just becomes like fizz. Especially, it's not when you're listening to it on its own, it's not too bad. But when you're in a band, you suddenly put on the fuzz pedal and the bass all just disappears, and you're in the guitar player's frequency range. That's okay. at nothing. The tone actually at nothing. Turning the tone up. I suppose it becomes kind of a bit like a lead guitar, really, doesn't it? And this is me get the volume on that pedal very low. The volume's at like a quarter at 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock, and it's like that's quite a boost from. Not unusable, but I think that sound in a band with drums and another guitar, for example, you're going to lose all the low end and it'll sound funny. There'll be a big gap in the sound. Maybe not that much. The tone control on the bass doesn't seem to do anything with this pedal. Really? Yeah. I think it's just put too much into it. So I'll put that back at 12 o'clock. Whoop. And then I'll put the fuzz to full. That was the fuzz at 12 o'clock. This is the fuzz at full now. The tone down a little bit. Maybe that's a bit too. It does seem to be letting through a lot of the bass frequencies though. I mean, it's still got that bass. That's the deep button on the amp. Try pressing that. Oh! Okay, that does make it incredibly deep. You kind of almost feel that that deep button is for this very purpose. I'm running a fuzz pedal, it's a bit fuzzy and light. Deep button, woomph. Well, you can even really hear the drums when I start playing, can you? Turn the volume down. So what happens when I turn the gate, the fuzz level right down, so the bass level back up, the volume of the bass back up? Less fuzz. Well, if you turn off all the fuzz, there's no sound. Once you get the knob to about 3 o'clock, it doesn't really seem to do anything, isn't it? It turns on when you get to 3 o'clock. So basically that goes, that kind of goes to show that I did not I just assumed that this wasn't going to work for the bass, and that's what I'm going to do. Is I'm going to put it into the guitar pedal circuit now. Bear with me 2 seconds. Any proper pro YouTuber would I like doing it works and all, so you get to see exactly how long these things take. So that's me putting this bass pedal back in, and if I take out this mini rat pedal, velcro down, and then put it into the guitar amp. The power supply goes in there, that goes in there. So I'll just leave the settings the same. So many pedals, I have to move my ATAP commander. You can sit there, right. ATAP pilot. Star Wars fans, no driver even. So there's your bass sound on its own. This is it through the orange guitar amp. Which, to be honest, doesn't sound that bad for bass anyway, because it's not up very loud, it's a 12-inch speaker, so, you know, with guitar amps, putting things in a gigging situation where you're up loud, the guitar amps aren't as good as bass amps for the bass, but for in the house, it's a wee bit higher. Right, so turn the volume. Obviously not as bassy as the bass amp was. But if because I've got this special pedal, both of them on at the same time. Turning the tone down to nothing on the pedal now, so it's now the tone's at nothing going into the guitar amp. See what I'm getting a crazy stereo effect there, where the the lower strings are coming more out of the bass amp. And this year, because I've got that behind me, the higher up notes are coming more out of that. But to be honest, having two amps on, one clean and one distorted, sounds flipping amazing. It really does. Now just the guitar amp with the Fuzz pedal on it. to get a bit more fizz in it. And a lot more volume. Play bass with a pick? Never. Go for the bass through both amps then. I've been doing this for ages, but I'm quite enjoying it. So this is the bass amp on clean and the fuzz coming through the guitar amp. How do I start? A big bend. Maximum fuzz, minimum tone, not an awful lot of volume, through the guitar amp. No pick. I don't get people who don't get bass. Bass is just so much fun to play. It really is. So I'm actually thinking of it in a Sabbath band. This just using this bass. Craig the guitarist tunes down with a Digitech Whammy drop pedal or something like that, which in my head it sounds digital. I don't think it does. I'm used to it now, but I think I know that Craig did have like a Digitech Whammy, not just the drop. The drop pedal's it just drops. The Whammy's got the big the Tom Morello thing. I wonder if I could maybe get a shot of that off him and try and see if I can do the tuning to C sharp just unnaturally and digitally and get away with it to bring it down to one thing, because it is kind of, the set's kind of suffering a little bit from it because I've got to change bass. So we kind of lumped all the pretty much the early songs first half, later songs second half, which I suppose isn't a bad thing. But one thing I'm noticing is I've been using this has been my C sharp bass. It's now tuned to standard. It's not as bendy. It's like the vibrato's much harder to do with. You just can't bend the strings enough. I wonder if maybe lighter gauge strings are the way to go to get around that. Maybe it's not too bad. it should help being the bass that I use normally for standards full scale. This is 32 inch, so it's kind of less tension, a bit bendier, a bit, not as bendy as like it would be if it was an EBO or something like that, but bendier halfway. But this bass is just fantastic though. It's worth nothing. I mean, if you see one of these, you won't pay a lot of money for it, just buy it. Don't even think about it. It's like it's a medium scale P bass. Basically, it's the cheapest of the aria basses, but there's something about it. It's just really easy to play. It's kind of almost like a guitar, but still a bass, because basses are awesome. This one's had some, when I got it, the headstock was split, and then someone had actually screwed the headstock back together again with those screws, so I took it to bits, clamped it and glued it, and then thought, actually I'll just put screws back in again. I put in nicer screws, but I just put the screws back in again, so it's actually the headstock held together with screws. It's got so many dents on the back of the neck that you can't feel any of them. It almost feels like, you know there's a guitar, it's got like a sort of pineapple pattern on the back of the fretboard of the neck. I can't admit it's like a really expensive handmade thing, but that's the sort of same principle, where it's like, if you've got a really smooth neck with one of these dents on it, you would feel that dent. There's so many dents you can't distinguish whereabouts in the fretboard you are. You know, it's not like you go, every time I get to the 5th fret I can feel that dent in my thumb. Nah, the whole thing's just like, it's like. But what a superb bass, and 22 minutes talking about that pedal. But the wee Dolamo pedal, I mean, I don't know if it's for everyone, but I think it's amazing. I think it's a fuzz face, but it's like, I mean, it wasn't expensive. I can't remember exactly. I think it was 20 quid. Something, it was something like that. But I seem to, after I bought it for 20 quid, I tried to find one like a week later when I was, whoa, Jesus, don't do that. A week later when I was looking up, when I did a video on it, I suddenly couldn't find them for 20 quid anymore. It was just when they came out. It's also super bright orange, which it doesn't show up on the screen. This is pure fluorescent. A very simple thing, but maybe just because I'm into like sort of more of the 60s sound, kind of does. I mean, it's pretty extreme. It doesn't do, it's like, oh, do you want to set it to a nice gentle fuzz? Don't buy this one. It doesn't have gentle fuzz. It's only got, and then when you turn the fuzz up, it just goes, it's like, that's your kind of two options. So this is going back in my board. I'll probably end up using this for guitar demos for some reason well, not for some reason, but when you use a bridge single coil with this, it just absolutely screams at you. It's pure Hendrix in a box. Is it the best fuzz pedal? Is it my favourite fuzz pedal ever? I think it, to be honest, I think it is. I mean, I've tried. I did a fuzz Thursday at one point when someone lent me about 10 fuzz pedals, and then someone else said, "Oh, I enjoyed that. I've got 10 fuzz pedals as well." So I think I did 20 odd fuzz pedals, and I think I spread them out over 20 weeks. But there's a playlist. This will be in the playlist. Is that the right way around? There, in the playlist there. And I'll probably put the actual video for this one with the guitar here. If I'm really clever, I doubt I'm that clever, and you can subscribe here. Like, what are the chances of that working? Anyhow, Dolamo Fuzz, I totally rate it. If you're paying 25 quid for it or something like that, really, what can you lose? It might not be your thing. It might not work as well into like solid state amps and stuff like that. But for me, going into a tube amp, it totally does exactly what I want. Rock on.